Test, test, test. Sorry about that, guys. I had a little technical issue there. I think we got it going. We were actually going to try something different, and it didn't like that. So sorry for the late start, but we'll get that worked out. Let that noise stop there. All right, it is Tuesday, September the 9th. We are live once again on Facebook and YouTube. We were trying to do something different with Facebook and OBS, the software that we use to do this. It did not like that, so we'll have to figure that out. So we are live on Facebook and YouTube again. I am Tim. If you didn't know, we come here every week, talk about golf cart issues, and talk about try to help people with their golf cart problems. Try to save you some money. If you would like to talk to me one-on-one about your issue on the phone or on a video chat, you can. We offer a service where I will call you. You can go to golfcartgarage.com and look for the Gearheads on Demand service. That is a paid service. It's been doing pretty good. I don't have a lot of time available to take calls, but the time that I do have is pretty booked up. But other than that, if you don't want to do that, you can come here every Tuesday at 12 noon Central Time, and you can try to get your question in the chat, and if I don't know the answer, someone in the room might. Let me see if Facebook is rolling. I guess it is. Jerry Lee on Facebook. Hi, Tim from Central Illinois. What's going on, Jerry Lee? All right, so everything is apparently rolling. All right, good. Like I said, sorry for the late start. I know some of you guys are on a schedule. David Irwin says it's working good. Big Mike, what's going on, Big Mike? Galactic Technologies, what's up, Daniel? Kirk, we're here, Kirk. Just had some little glitches there. David Irwin, cool. Gene Hansen, what's going on? Stephen Miller, afternoon. Howdy, Tim, from Greg Elliott. GCT crew and Carters everywhere from lovely Bristol, Virginia. Greg Elliott, all is well. Glad to see you. Thank you, David. Kevin Rabbit, hope you got it fixed. I think we did. I think we got it, Kevin. Jared Kelly, it'd be all right. Keith and Chris from Nashville, back with you. Thank you for joining us, Keith. Dual Brothers, Ricky Hall checking in. All right, Ricky. Ricky was our last winner of the bag of swag. He emailed me and told me he got it. Everything is cool with that. What's Dual Brothers, Ricky? Bart Gilman on Facebook. What's going on, Bart Gilman? All right. I hate it when there's glitches, but couldn't avoid it. We were trying something different. Probably shouldn't wait till the last minute to try something different. Social media links. All right. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook. Give us a like and a subscribe and a thumbs up. You can follow us on other platforms if you would like. We're on all the TikTok and Instagram stuff also. On those social media links. If you'd like to send me some pictures of your golf carts, I'll put my email address up there now. I'll put it back up in a little while, or later on in this episode. 00timfreeman@gmail.com. Send me some pictures and I'll feature your golf cart or golf cart related pictures or just some fabrication pictures of something cool, some type of cool fabrication. I like that too. Kurt, I thought for a minute we're going to miss you. Well, normally I would have stopped it, Kurt, because we were so late, because I know some of you guys are on a schedule on your lunch break and stuff. So sometimes when there's glitches, I'll just stop it and just because I don't like to start late. But I thought I'd give it another chance, and looks like we got it going. So we're about 15 minutes late today. If you'd like to buy a hat from Golf Cart Garage, you can. I'll put those back up in a little while. There's some links in the description that'll take you right to them. Links, or there will be. If they're not there now, there will be in a little while. D-Max, lunch break right now. That's why I don't like to go late, D-Max, because I know some of you guys are on a schedule. But thank you for hopping in. I mean, it's all right if you can't stay to the end, but I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you being here. Help Us Garage. Hey guys, hope all is okay. I would have waited. I'm retired and have nothing to do anyway. Well, thank you, Kurt. Mike Irvin, 75 and sunny in southwestern Indiana. Yeah, we got some beautiful weather going on now in Arkansas. Beautiful weather. I've been riding the motorcycle a lot lately. I got some yard work to do I'm looking forward to because it's been so hot, but we're good now. All right. Here we go. Since the garage is now open, we will get started with the regular questions. And I'm sure there will be some pop up in the chat, either on Facebook or YouTube. I don't understand why my volume keeps going down, but I can tell it's going down. It does that on its own. All right, question number 1. This is from Kyle. Why does my golf cart engine sometimes backfire? I hear an extra loud sound when the engine turned over. Help. Kirk says, just got a Facebook notice saying I was rolling. Okay, cool. Okay, backfiring can be caused by several different issues. One of the most common issues is a carburetor issue that has to do with your needle and seat. We've talked about that before many times on this episode. If the needle and seat is not working properly, it can allow excess fuel to pour into the engine, and as soon as you step back on the gas pedal, it causes your golf cart to fire, and it's firing on excess fuel, and it can backfire. That's one thing. Timing being off is another one. That's just less common because how did your timing skip? How did your timing get off would be my question there. It can happen, but it's more unusual than it being a needle and seat issue in the carb. Question number 2. This is from Kenny. I'm trying to troubleshoot a Club Car Tempo 2019 and I can't seem to figure it out. Pack has 50.8, each battery is 8.2. I have a Curtis programmer and it's showing me key on off, verified with 48 in and out. Forward reverse switch working, verified also. Run toe switch verified working. M core showing 0 to 100 when I press the pedal of the programmer. I get the buzzer in reverse, but no throttle input in forward or reverse. Can't be the controller if I'm getting input at 0 to 100, right? I don't understand your thought process there. Can't be the controller if I'm getting 0 to 100. I don't understand why you don't think it could be the controller. I'll check all motor wires, clean them. Already cleaned all battery connections. Batteries are 23 Trojans. Speed sensor magnet. Also, could I still be getting a reading on the program for the M core and still have a bad M core? I would not jump on the M core if you're getting 0 to 100% for the M core, because on the programmer, what it's actually reading voltage when it's coming back and showing you 0 to 100%. Because the actual M core test without the programmer involves like 0 to 4.75 volts on a certain wire that's plugged into the M core. So that's where that 0 to 100% is coming from. So no, I definitely would not be jumping on the M core, because if it's showing that on the programmer. I mean, that's why when you go to club car school and you're going through the training, they show you how to do the test with the M core and without the M core. Because, I'm sorry, not the M core, the programmer, with and without the programmer. Because the programmer, just takes all the volts and stuff out of it when it's showing 0 to 100%. So no, I wouldn't be doing that. My question would be on that golf cart, you never told me if your solenoid's clicking. And I know everybody thinks it's funny how often I say that, but you never told me if your solenoid clicks when you try to drive the cart. I'm looking back at your post. Check the battery connection. Batteries are... So you're not showing any faults on your programmer. Well, this is what you could do. You answer my question on that cart about whether or not the solenoid's clicking or not first. Okay. If the solenoid's not clicking, then could be the controller. If the solenoid is clicking, then what I would do is I would do the motor isolation test on that car. So you're going to eliminate the motor, and you've eliminated everything up to the solenoid, because if the solenoid's working, if the solenoid's verified good, just because it's clicking does not mean 100% that it's a good solenoid, but it's most likely good at that point. And the only thing in between there is controller. So I don't know why you think you can rule out the controller with the 0 to 100% on the M core. That's just 0 to 100% input from the M core. It's not output from the controller. Gary England, what's going on? Bruce from Westfield, I'm running a little late. Well, so were we, Bruce. We didn't get started till about 12:15. I had some technical things going on. Haven Speckman, what's going on, Haven Speckman? Looks like Facebook is still going. All right, cool. Yep, we are live on both. Okay, cool. Number 3. Number 3 is from Marion. Hello, Tim. I own a 2020 Onward golf cart. And I was looking for a 12-volt power source behind the dash panel to power up a set of rock lights that could draw a maximum 2 amps. I could not find a 12-volt source, but needed as unused pigtail set, which measures 50 when the keys turn on. My question is, can I use these pigtails to power a small 10 amp voltage reducer, or am I asking for trouble? Thanks in advance. I would say that you're probably asking for trouble if you have to ask that question. So if you've got to ask that question, then just to be safe, why don't you just get your voltage reducer and hook it to your batteries and forget about that pigtail thing. That would be safer. Just follow some instructions on a voltage reducer that connects straight to your batteries. Let's see, my wife is on YouTube and says, nice shirt. Thank you. Big Frank, what's going on, Big Frank? I'm here. Happy Tuesday from sunny 82 South Carolina. Glad you made it, Big Frank. Bruce, I got a 2008 Yamaha G29. I used to have one of those that cuts out only on full throttle and batteries stay at 50 volts when this happens. Any ideas? Okay, if you have already verified that the batteries are staying at 50 volts when it cuts out, then we know it's not your batteries. Now the next most likely thing would be on a Yamaha, it's called a throttle position sensor. That's what I would be leaning toward on that. If it's cutting out, then your signal is getting interrupted from the throttle position sensor. And you put a voltmeter on that, Bruce, and verified that that 50 volts is staying at 50 volts when the car's cutting out. Just making sure that we're clear on that. Eagle River Mike, just checking in. Wife had PTs this morning, looking good, Tim. Thank you, Eagle River Mike. I recommend, Sir Walter, that's a good question. Do you recommend a relay on the voltage reducer or power off the on-off switch? I do not recommend powering it with the on-off switch. I recommend another completely separate switch. Then you don't have to worry about any of those problems. You know, you don't have to worry about the complication of hooking it up. You don't have to make sure you're hooking to the right wire. Just make it a completely separate circuit. That's what I recommend. That just makes things easier. That way, if your lights go out, you know it's something to do with your voltage reducer circuit. That has nothing to do with your golf cart. You know, nothing to do with your golf cart running. That's what I like to recommend. A completely separate switch for your voltage reducer only. Turn that on and off. You know, that way you don't tie into any of your existing wiring harness. Now, there are some voltage reducers that come with clear instructions for specific golf cars where you can utilize pigtails. I understand all that. But if you don't have clear instructions and you're not 100% sure about what you're doing there, then I would recommend just completely taking it out of the equation. Joe Williams on Facebook. Oh, gave me a cool looking avatar thumbs up. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Joe Williams. Joe Foster, what reducer do you recommend? Well, it depends on how much you're planning on running, Joe. If you're just planning on running lights, and if your lights are, which they probably are, your lights that you're going to run are LED, then you could get away with some of the smallest voltage reducers out there that don't cost a lot. Now, but if you're trying to run stereo or lights that are halogen, other things that would pull more stuff, then you might want to get one of the higher voltage reducers. But yeah, 36 to 12, if your car is 36 volts, that's fine. But they come in amps. You know, you want to get the higher amps for the more load. But the less amps that they can provide, the cheaper they're going to be. Bruce says, yes, for sure, it's staying at the right voltage. The sensor is what I was thinking also. Just don't have one here to try. You can go at a slow speed, but when you put it to the floor, it abruptly stops. See, what will happen, Bruce, on other cars, and I'm not sure about Yamaha, but golf carts all work sort of the same way. You have a throttle input, and whether it's Club Car, Yamaha, or E-Z-GO, there's a throttle input, and in your case, that throttle input is called a throttle position sensor. What that does is it sends a signal within a certain range, depending on where your foot is on the accelerator pedal. You go, a little bit, it sends a signal, a little bit of a signal. You go all the way, and it sends more of it sends volts, is what it does. It sends volts or ohms or something to your controller that understands that language, and then the controller puts that language to the motor. All right. If the signal goes out of whack, it'll shut down. That's why I'm sitting there thinking. That's why I'm thinking that it's the throttle position sensor, because it's going too far when you push your foot all the way down. The signal's going out of whack, and it'll shut everything down. Your controller doesn't understand that language, and it'll shut it down. But on you know how we were talking earlier about how an M core on a club car goes 0 to 100%. Well, they can go faulty where it'll go to 0 to 150%, and then it'll shut down. But what is actually happening is it's going too high of volts. Joe Foster, thank you for the amperage rating suggestion. Dave Stocker, where can you buy a shop manual for a 2009 Club Car Precedent? That should be, when you say shop manual, I'm assuming you're talking about a service manual, because that's what everybody wants is a service manual where it gets into it. Uh, check with us and see if we have that. Check with Golf Cart Garage. Talk to one of the people there and see if what they say about that question there. I'm not sure. I don't hear a lot about selling service manuals, but that does not mean that we don't have access to them. So check with somebody at golfcartgarage.com. Send an email if you want to, if you don't want to call, but or if you can't get someone to answer the phone, send an email. Aaron says, do not cheap out on the voltage reducer. Some of them stay on all the time unless you wire in a 36 or 48 volt relay to the key. The bigger blue reducers have a key switch wire. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. If you have clear instructions, but if you have to ask questions about where to hook your voltage reducer, it's better just to put it on a separate switch, is all I was saying. But yeah, if you've got clear instructions and clear key switch wire, then by all means, go follow the instructions. Kevin Bickings, I have a 2007 Club Car Precedent question. If I'm going up a hill and press down on the throttle, it starts to violently jerk. The batteries are old. Could this be a battery issue or something else? Kevin Bickings, that is definitely the most common symptom of a battery issue. And like we've said on this episode or this program all the time, you got 6 batteries in there, you got 4 batteries in there, whatever your configuration, doesn't really matter. The point is that they never all die at the same time. You got one that's going to go out before the others. And when that happens, it could just be one cell in that battery is going out. And that will cause any golf cart to start jerking under load. So that's a very common symptom of a bad battery. Now, if you'd like to try to find it, you could find that battery. But if your batteries are old, what are you going to do if you find it? You shouldn't really just replace that one. That would fix your problem, but it's only going to fix your problem temporarily. And you're going to eventually another battery, maybe a week from that day, you're going to have another battery that does the same thing. So if they're old, it may be time. But if you want to verify what I'm saying, you can take a voltmeter, and when it starts violently jerking, if you had a voltmeter connected to that particular battery, when it started violently jerking, you would see it on the voltmeter. You'd see the volts going up and down, and you'd know that you found your weakest battery. Aaron says, batteries for sure. Yep. Jeff Upchurch. What's going on, Jeff? If you have a 48 volt Club Car DS97 model, are you locked into 48 volt replacement batteries, or can you go with higher voltage battery? Well, Jeff, any golf cart can be converted to higher voltage, but you just have to make sure that you understand which components are voltage sensitive, because you are going to have to change to some components. One of them is your controller. Like a stock 48 volt Club Car DS, that controller will not handle higher voltage than 48. So if it's a stock controller, you're going to have to get a controller that will handle more than 48 volts. You're going to have to get if you want it to be a plug and play deal, then you're going to have to replace your solenoid too, because your solenoid activates off 48 volts. Well, if you're fixing to change your voltage, you need a solenoid that's going to activate off 72 or whatever you're changing to, in order for it to be a plug and play situation. So it's a little complicated, but you also need to make sure that you got a new charger coming in, and you're going to have to decide what you want to do about the OBC, because if that's a 97 club car, you've got an onboard computer. Well, my point is, Jeff, it's not a project for everyone, but you just need to understand the basics, and that's the things that I just talked about. You've got an OBC issue that you need to understand. You've got a controller issue that you need to understand, and you've got a solenoid issue. Now, your motor, you could hit that motor if that's a series car. I'm assuming that that's a series wound cart with no run toe switch. Okay, I'm assuming that. Your motor would probably take 72 volts, but I would keep an eye on it for heat. I would keep checking on it for heat. Kevin Bickens, thank you for your help. You were very informative. Thank you, Kevin. I'm glad I could help. Hey, Aaron, not recommended without replacing motor and motor controller. Yep. Yes, series. Okay. You could hit that motor with higher voltage. I've got a 36 volt series motor that I've hit with a lot higher voltage than 36 volts. They tend to take it, but like I said, you're going to have to check on that occasionally for heat, unless you wanted to get another motor that specifically said that it would take higher voltage. That's the only component in a series wound car that you can actually up the volt. It's not as voltage sensitive as your controller and your solenoid. And you got to understand, your solenoid's only voltage sensitive because it's designed to activate off of that voltage. You could actually put, I mean, I had a 144 volt car one time with a 12 volt solenoid, but that 12 volt solenoid was very, very heavy duty, big, giant, all bright, where you could see the contactors, but it actually activated off of a 12 volt battery that I had in the car. So the volts of a solenoid has nothing to do with its heavy dutiness. It's the amps that it will pass. When you shop for solenoids, you'll see that they say something about amps. Well, that has something to do with the heavy dutiness, not the voltage that it just activates on. A lot of people get confused about that. A lot of people don't really understand that about solenoids. That always amazes me that it's a lot of people don't understand that a solenoid is nothing but a electrically operated on-off switch. That's it. It's just an on-off switch. Okay, let me go back over to Facebook real quick. All right, yeah, we're still good. Number 4. This is from Sean. My friend has a new 2020 Club Car Onward with the lithium package. Okay, it has an AC motor. Okay, so he's got a 2020, which is lithium and AC. 375 amp controller, but the software limits it to 19. How can he get more speed besides larger wheels? Are the aftermarket speed sensors for this model maybe compatible with high-speed gears, or does anyone program these controllers? I don't think Navitas or Alltrax has a compatible controller for this model. Well, Navitas and Alltrax would have an entire package for that motor, which would include the motor and controller. I mean, once you have that, you can do all the programming yourself. But my question would be, did your dealer tell you that there's no way to program that to higher than 19? Because I would think that might be a little bit slow. I'm pretty sure you could get a little more out of that, even though it's a stock system. But if it isn't a stock system, if that's the limit on that, that would be unusual, I would think. But if it is, then you would have to replace you could get a Navitas compatible system with that, which would include, or an Alltrax compatible system, but it's going to include the motor and controller. Turn that off there. Jeff says, thanks, just wanted to see if it was possible. Thinking of AC conversion at some point. Yep, you can always do that, Jeff. Batteries are struggling now. Old Curtis controller, I know it needs to go. Just bypass the OBC question mark. Yes, but make sure we're talking about electrically bypassing, the OBC in the correct way for a 97, was it? 97, because the correct way to bypass an OBC changes with different years or different spans of years. So make sure you're getting the correct way on a 97 if you decide to bypass that. Okay. Oh, I think this next question has to do with the title of this episode. I named it. I thought it was I was going to tell what I have seen in the past, but based on this question. From Richard, hello Tim, love your show, very helpful. Thank you, sir. I'm new to golf carts and I have a question. How and when do I know it's time to grease the front end of my club cart? Thank you for any advice you can give me. Number 5 is where I'm at. This is Richard. Okay, I can definitely answer that question, Richard. Uh, I'll tell you in two extremes. It's kind of like people that water their batteries. It's kind of like the same thing with the spindles. You got two different types of people. You got people that overwater their batteries, and then you got people that never put water in them. It's the same thing with greasing your spindles. Is pretty much the only. You got some spindle Zerk fittings on the front of a club car, and you have some Zerk fittings or alamites or whatever you want to call them on tie rod ends. Okay, you got two kinds of people. You got people that over grease them, and the front end of their car is a mess. Then you got people that never do anything. Well, I can tell you this: over 90% of all golf cars spend the first 3 years or so of their life at a golf course. All right, then they get onto the used golf cart market, and people end up with them. Very few people ever go to a golf cart dealership and buy a personal brand new golf cart for themselves to play golf in. Very few people do that. Now they do. There are some people that have, and there's some people that do. But the majority of all golf carts out there on the used market spent the first 3 to 4 years of their life on a golf course, where the golf course, does maintenance, or the club car guy comes there, or the Easy Go guy comes there occasionally and helps fix their cars, or if they, depending on what kind of maintenance contract they signed with their lease, because they're actually just leasing those cars. My point is, I have seen club car DSs and club car, I think it's just DSs. I don't think precedents have spindle alamites. I don't think they do. Anyway, I've seen them never grease the spindles. The factory grease that's in there, then they run them for 3 years, everything's fine. So I know for a fact they'll last 3 years without any maintenance whatsoever. Now that doesn't mean you should do that, because I've seen them even go longer than that, to the point where the grease in the spindle just completely dried up and the steering starts getting hard and they don't understand why, and it gets harder and harder and harder. And then when you disconnect the tie rod, you try to turn the wheel and you can't even turn it left and right. It doesn't even go freely. And it's been so long that the grease is dried up that you can't even put grease into the spindle. It won't even allow it, because it's all dried up in the Zerk fitting. It won't allow grease to get to the spindle. So the bottom line is, if you greased your spindles every year, I don't know what it says in the service manual right off the top of my head, but if you did it once a year, that would be plenty. I guarantee you that would be plenty. They will eventually lock up if you don't ever grease them. And but I'm talking about years. Jeff Upchurch, very helpful. Thanks so much. No problem, Jeff. It's just some things I just wanted to point out. There's some things you need to look into if you plan on bypassing the OBC and doing an AC conversion. But yeah, and by the way, it also amazes me how many people don't understand how much YouTube can be their friend. Not only are y'all watching me on YouTube right now, there are going to be videos, Jeff, on YouTube of step by step where someone is in their garage like I am, and they do an AC conversion on a Club Car DS that could be very helpful to you if you ever decided to take that project on. So get used to using YouTube if you're not already, for videos, and because that helps a lot. Helpless says, I do 1 pump of grease every spring and every fitting. Yep, see, that's fine. You'll never have a problem if you do that. But it would take a long time for you to get a lockup situation like what I'm talking about. But I have seen it to the point where the spindles will not even turn. I mean, I have literally had to put them in the vise, remove spindles, put the spindle in a vise, and get some cheater bars and get it to turn it to get that spindle out of there with penetrating lubricant on the inside and everything. Okay. Number 6. This is from Philip M. I have a 97 E-Z-Go Medalist 36 volt DCS. All right. That is possible. It's all stock. The problem is it will run for a few seconds, then stop. If I switch it to maintenance mode and wait about 10 seconds, then switch it back on, it will run. It will go for another few seconds, then stop. I can repeat this over and over. Any help? Okay. I'm sure a lot of you that are regulars know what I'm going to say here. It's a 97 36 volt DCS, and it's all stock. All right. Well, I can tell you this, Philip, from experience. The controller in a DCS cart is probably, in my opinion, probably one of the weakest controllers you could get. I've said it before, I'm surprised E-Z-Go didn't try to shut me down in some kind of way. All DCS carts that have a stock controller, they need a new controller. All of them. All of them. All E-Z-Go DCS carts that are running the stock controller need a new controller. And I just went on video saying that. And I'm sure that if you talk to anybody that has worked on a lot of E-Z-Go carts, they would agree with me. Okay, Aaron says, I don't have as much experience with the Coleman Candy. I've got a friend that has a 2020 something that has 6 8-volt LiPo batteries. I can't think of anything going wrong with replacing them with one big battery. I don't see any problem with that. Let's see. This is what I would want to check, Aaron. As long as the charging receptacle wires are going to the positive on the first and the negative on the last, then I don't see anything wrong with going with one big battery either, because the one big battery is probably going to have its own charger. So I can't believe they would be running 6 8-volt LiPos in series like that, because that's 6 BMSs. Yeah. I think it would be a better idea to replace them with one big battery, actually. I'm thinking right, or would something go wrong? I know there is a display on the dash. Would one battery be able to be read like the 6/8? The 6/8 is going to have the same voltage to the battery meter on the dash, because those 6/8 are able to be charged up a little bit higher than a normal 8. If they're LiPos, they're going to be a little bit higher. So it's going to be the same voltage, or very, very close to it. So that I don't see anything wrong with it at all. They have a single 48-volt charger pre-installed. Oh, they do have, okay, Aaron said, okay, they do have a single 48-volt charger pre-installed. Well, I wouldn't use that if you're going to switch to a new battery, because that's going to be specific for that battery. Those lithium companies are very strict on what charger is to be used with their battery. To avoid problems, I would not count on using that charger. To avoid warranty issues and other problems that could come up. Greg Elliott, thanks to Tim. Uh-oh, message retracted. 7. Number 7. Number 7 is from Damien, I believe. 91 E-Z-Go has new batteries, not like any of the wiring diagrams I have seen on the internet. Well, that's a pretty old cart. This cart has a different kind of solenoid and accelerator switch than I've seen on most sites. Could you show me the proper wiring diagram? My problem is that it has lots of power for a few seconds, then rapidly runs out of power. After turning the switch off and setting the FNR to neutral for about an hour or so, it has power again for a few seconds. How do I check control switches to see if they're performing properly? Excuse me. Damien, that sounds like you have a battery issue there. This is what I would want you to do, Damien. I would want to know voltage readings on the batteries at time of failure. Like, take your voltmeter with you. You can hook it to your pack and watch it while you're driving. And then when the golf cart fails, make sure that you don't have one battery that's dropping out. You could go through your pack hooking your voltmeter to one battery at a time. You don't have to disconnect anything. Put some alligator clips on that one battery and connect those clips to your voltmeter leads. Have it sitting in the seat with you. Drive the cart until it fails. Watch that battery voltage on that one battery. That's all you're looking at when you do this. And see what happens to it. If nothing happens to it, move your voltmeter leads to the next battery and drive it again until it fails. And see if you see one of them that the volts drop out on, because that's what you're describing. It is meant to be a 48 volt charger, and most LiPo chargers don't care about LiPos as long as it is LiPo. I don't know if that is true. I don't know if that's 100% true, Aaron. That's why I always just caution people. Check with your lithium manufacturer to see what's approved for their particular battery. Because I have run across situations where it's not approved. Like this next question from Kurt. Do you know which lithium batteries are able to use a Summit 2 charger? I would ask every manufacturer, of lithium batteries before especially if I just spent a whole bunch of money on their lithium battery. But I wouldn't put a Summit 2 charger on it unless they said it's approved. And I know that the Summit 2 charger has a lithium setting. There are also different kinds of lithium. There are different kinds of chemistries even among lithium. So that's why I would just check with them. See what they say. It's going to be a very common question. Hey Tim, I didn't realize just how much I enjoy your program until I got enrolled in a rock steady boxing class about a month and a half ago. It starts the same time as your program. Sadly, since I have been blessed with Parkinson's disease, I have to choose the boxing class wait a sec. I have to choose the boxing class over your program. I recently started on different medication that is making me nauseous, so I had to skip the class today. I guess it's a blessing in disguise. As always, thank you for sharing your wealth of wisdom and knowledge on golf cart repairs and maintenance issues. Great program. Keep up the good work. You rock. Well, thank you, Joe. Bob. I'm sorry. Joe was the last comment right above your thing. Thank you for saying that, Bob. I really appreciate that. And good luck with your recovery there. But thank you, sir. Greg Elliott, thanks to Tim and all who participated in this very educational episode. It has been very helpful. Now hit that like button. Thank you, Greg. Number 8, I think is where we're at. Yeah, number 8. Number 8 is from Eric. We have a 89 G1 that will go sometimes at full speed, then slows to nothing. Had old gas, put new gas in it, clean carb, changed fuel filter, changed plug, changed all fuses, checked air filter, cleaned fuel bowl. When it's jacked up, the drive belt engages fine and runs fine, but when we go to drive it, it has no power. Well, we are talking about a 30-year-old car here. So the first thing to do is do a compression test. Make sure your compression is within range of normal range for a G1. Second thing to do is take the wheels off the ground, the back wheels, jack it up, get those wheels off the ground, and open the body up, because G1, the whole body raises up, which is very cool, by the way. And then start it and watch your clutches and make sure your clutches are working right. Because that's the two things, that's the most common two things that are going to affect your power. It's going to be compression, clutches, and crank seals. Now, crank seals can be compensated for with pulling out the choke. So if you're having a crank seal issue, if you're having a crank seal issue, if when you pull the choke, the car runs better. Like after it's warmed up. If the car starts spitting and sputtering, and you pull the choke and it starts to run better, it's very likely you have crank seal leaks. And very common in an old car, an old two-stroke like that. Kirk says, Tim, tell Bob to subscribe. Bob on Facebook. Tell him to subscribe and hit the save, and he can watch it later. I have all the previous episodes saved, and I sometimes go back and watch them. All right, I hope Bob is still listening. I don't know if I can pronounce Bob. His name is Bob Wiltfong. All right, did you get that, Bob? Kirk says to hit subscribe, and you can go back and watch the episodes later if you miss it live. All right, number 9. We're going to go past 1 o'clock today because we got a late start, guys. I hope that doesn't mess anybody's schedule up, but we'll be back on schedule for next week. From Alan, I have a 96 Yamaha 48 volt, new batteries and cables. Fully charged and brand new LED kit. Lights are super dim as the signals. Everything works, but nowhere near as bright as other light kits I've put on other golf carts. Did I miss something on this one? Well, Alan, where do your lights hook to? That would be my question. You got a 48 volt car. It's a 96 model 48 volt car. What's it running? 6, 8 volt batteries, most likely. What are your lights hooked to? Where are they getting power? Because you, sounds like you might be running off of one 8 volt battery, and that's not how those lights are supposed to run. They're supposed to run off 12 volts. So you're going to have to get a voltage reducer in order to get a usable 12 volts. Lights would work off 8, but they're going to be very dim. All right, number 10. Number 10 is from Michael H. I have a 2007 gas DS with 6-inch Jake's lift kit and 14-inch rims and tires. 2007 gas, okay. No problems before installing the lift kit and tires. After installation, the oil light flashes at startup and then stops flashing after a few seconds. Check the oil level, it was fine. Light does not come back on while riding and will come back on after the cart sits for a while and cools down. Then the same scenario, flashes a few seconds at startup, then goes away. Do you know what this might be, or is it even an issue to be concerned with? Michael H. Well, I don't know what it is, but I know what it might be. And it's a Jake's lift kit and 14-inch. It could possibly have to do with your lift kit, because, you know, when a golf cart is in stock form, you know, the motor is set in there at the factory at a certain angle. The oil level is in the motor on the dipstick at a certain angle. Some lift kits on a gas golf cart, this is where some gas golf carts are affected by the lift kit in a way that it changes the angle of the motor. Well, if you change the angle of the motor, then you change the height of the oil in that engine in a certain area of the engine, maybe around the oil sensor, you know, that activates that light. So it could be something to do with your oil level. And what a lot of people have had to do after they install a lift kit, they've had to run a little less oil than they had been before. They had to take some oil out because the oil was in an area of the engine. Now, running a little less oil than you did before shouldn't be an issue, but that's what I would try. I would remove some oil and see if your problem goes away. And then if it does, you know that you're on the right path. And then you could continuously put more oil in it until it comes back. Then you'd have to figure out, how much keep doing that until you figure out the correct level for your engine angle, because your engine angle might not be stock engine angle anymore, and that could be causing all your issues. All right, Dan Austin on YouTube says, "Hey Tim, what's up, Dan Austin? I have a 2001 EasyGo TXT 36. I use it around the farm. How often do I need to charge the batteries?" Well, if you've got lead acid golf cart batteries in there, Dan, then your charger on that car, if you're using the stock charger for a 2001, is a fully automatic shutting off charger, and your lead acid batteries are not going to overcharge, and your charger won't run very long if if you've depleted very little out of them. Your charger won't run near as long as if you've depleted a lot. So in other words, you can charge it as much or as little as you want. You're not going to hurt anything by overcharging it with that system. Lead acid batteries they like to be the lead acid golf cart batteries like to be fully charged at all times. So in other words, and I've also say this to my customers, that you should be able to run all day long, do whatever you need to all day long. And then when you get finished with your golf cart for the day, you're through, put it on charge. It'll be ready to go tomorrow in case you have a long day tomorrow. Just charge it whenever you get through with it for the day. Now, if you just went to the mailbox and back, is it really necessary to charge? No, it's not necessary. But you can, and it's not going to hurt anything, but it's not necessary. So just charge it at the end of the day, and it'll be ready to go for the next day. And if you start running out of batteries, on a good set of lead acid batteries, if you start losing your battery pack voltage in one day, you're driving a lot if they're a good set of batteries. Half a mile, if I only drive it a half a mile, it's not necessary, but you can, is what I'm saying. It's not going to hurt anything. Travis Beach made it. I'm really late, but I did make it. Hey, Travis. Travis, I'm glad you are saying something, because I got your car loaded up in pictures for Let's See, and we're fixing to look at that right now. So you made it just in time to see your car. I've got some, Aaron, I've got some of your pictures loaded up too. If you guys want to hold up just for a minute, I know we're running late today because we got a late start, but I do have some pictures loaded up if I remember right. Yep, I do. I've got some pictures. Cool. So I get to run my cool graphic. Bam. Let's see some pictures. All right, Travis, now that I know you're here, where did it go? There it is. Bam, this is sent from me from Travis. This is his car. I don't know if you can see the flames in the paint, but it's a club car precedent. Got some cool seats on it. Good looking car. I'm assuming that's your Toyota 4Runner back there behind it. It all kind of matches, but he's got some flames going on. Looks like there might even be some blue accents on oh yeah, the seats are blue. The seats are black and blue. So cool. Yeah, I've always liked the look of a lifted Precedent. They look good. With the right rims and tires, they look good. I'm going to leave that up for a minute. Let me check Facebook while I'm leaving that up for a second. Bob says he's got it. I watch a lot of your programs at different times. Thank you to the viewer who made the suggestion. Much appreciated. That was Kurt. He's a regular on viewing on Facebook, Bob. That was Kurt that said that. He's in Florida. That made that suggestion for you. Kurt, that's a good question. I don't know how you knew that, but that's the other pictures that I got that I have queued up. Is I finally got around to those that Aaron told me about that four-passenger kit that I was curious about, and it is exactly like I thought. But I want to let you guys see it here in a second. Yeah, that's a good-looking cart, Travis. No doubt about it. I could get a lot of work done with that. All right, we'll go to these other pictures Aaron sent me. Aaron had talked about, we had talked about it on a previous episode about a four-passenger kit that he saw that didn't go, uh, let's see, it didn't go perpendicular to the cart. It went parallel to the cart. And I got to thinking, it sounds like a wheelie machine or whatever, you know. I said, if you're hanging even more weight off the back. Well, anyway, I wanted to see the design, and that's what he sent me. And I got some pictures here. Y'all ready for this? I got 2 or 3 of them. Bam. Y'all tell me what you think. I'm thinking wheelie machine. I don't think you could put, I don't see how you could put 4 people there without it being a wheelie machine. I mean, you could put 2 because they would be sitting almost in the same spot as a normal 4-passenger kit would be. But if you start extending another dude out past that, all the way to the end here, that would be, I don't even see how that would work. Yeah, that is an extra long roof, that's for sure. The steps are all welded on as well. Yeah, they need some wheels under that rear step. Now, it may work for children, you know, it's like Sir Walter's pointing out. That may work for some children back there. Uh, yeah, anybody over 100 pounds is going to have to sit up front for sure. I got another one. Let's see. This shows the welding and stuff. He did say he hits the steps sometimes. Yeah, Harry says, looks to me like the two most rear people need helmets and seat belts. I agree, because I have had wheelie incidents before when I was riding in a car with a 4-passenger kit and just in there by myself. I'm in there driving by myself with 2 people on the back, but I'm the only one up front, and run into some terrain where it was almost too much of a wheelie. Yeah, I think that's, I don't know. I don't like that. I'm not sure that I like that. It's very innovative, and I would want to see. I'd want to see a big wheel under that rear step that touched the ground. Just one big wheel. Like right there, some kind of big caster wheels under that rear step that were always touching the ground. Now, then it would work. Then it would be fine. I guess that could be the backup plan. Would be some kind of wheels under that rear step, or yeah, or put a big 500-pound weight in front. Yep, that looks like a hold my beer scenario for sure. It looks good. I did a real good job. But I'm no mathematical genius, but I see some severe angling going on there. Yeah, uh, yeah, some kind of big wheel like on a zero turn mower. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Just anything to when it, when it dips down of just a little bit that it would touch the ground. Then, then it'd probably be good. But looking at it, the more I look at it, let's just say that it did do a wheelie. Look how close that step is to the ground. So I'm not sure that it would flip. It would scrub that step pretty quick. Because once you get people back there, that step's going to be even closer to the ground than it is now because the suspension is going to be collapsed a little bit. So that step's going to be really close to the ground. Let me check Facebook. All right, cool. All right, guys. It's a gas cart, so it doesn't have the torque electric harness. It does have heavy duty springs. It doesn't squat too bad with people on the back. Oh, okay, so that step doesn't get much closer then. All right, let me see if this coupon is still good. I don't remember if this one is still active or not. Go to golfcartgarage.com. You can use coupon code GHOD8. This code expires September the 30th, so it is still good. September 30th, 2025. You get 5% off any parts you order if you use this code. Now, also last week we had some lithiums that were having a sale, so Dakotas and Ecos. So go check those out if you're lithium shopping. Travis says it does look like one of a kind, that's for sure. Yeah, I think so too. I don't think I've ever seen one like that. That's for sure. That is one of a kind for me. Well, the reason I've never seen one is because I don't think anybody would have thought about doing that. Excuse me. All right. Bob says it looked like a tractor puller. This needs a weight bar and several suitcase weights. Okay. You can do the contact information for Golf Cart Garage. There's the contact information for Golf Cart Garage. That's the main email, is a support email at golfcartgarage.com. If you would like to, and there's the phone number. If you'd like to send me an email directly, like I said earlier, this will go straight to me. Send me some pictures of your golf carts. And I will feature them. Kurt says, how is Dino doing? Dino is hanging in there, Kurt. He's actually doing better. He had a pretty severe episode. He didn't get hurt, but he had a pretty severe episode, and we kind of thought we might lose him there for a little bit. But my wife is on top of it, and we are getting him back. he's turned and he's coming back. He can eat, he can walk, he can take care of himself. But he had a close call called I don't know if any of you have had this with your dogs or whatever. He had a bout with vestibular disease, starts with a V. Vestibular disease or vestibular syndrome. It has to do with the inner ear. And when you start messing with somebody's inner ear, some of you may know, it makes you all dizzy and you can't walk and it gets you all over the place. Well, he had a bout with that, and that ain't no joke. And him being an older dude, I mean, if he makes it to January, he will be 15. And he's a big boy too. In his prime, he was right at 80 pounds. He's lost a lot of weight now, but he was an 80-pound boy. But he's doing improvements, Kurt. He's improving every day. And it's been about 3 weeks now, 3 to 4 weeks we've been dealing with that. It's like golf and drive for show, put for dough. For showing my card, I appreciate it, Travis. Oh, not a problem, Travis. Thank you for sending it to me. Just sometimes I might not get to it right away, but don't think, guys, that I don't look at my email. I do, but I've got a lot of things going on, and sometimes I don't look at it immediately. But I do check my email, and I take pictures out, and I put them in folders, and dogs are better friends than people for sure. Yep, we do, Kurt. He has had a I wish I could describe how good a life that boy's had. He has had a good life, and he's got more life to go too. All right, that looks like it's going to be it, guys. I'm just checking Facebook, checking the questions over there, make sure I didn't miss anything. I really appreciate you guys coming and helping me out with answering some of the questions that happened here. We will try to avoid what happened this time next week with the glitches, but Ayman and I were trying to try out some new stuff, and apparently it didn't work. That's why we got a late start, and that's why we're going overtime here. But I appreciate you showing up. I will see everybody on Tuesday, a week from today, which I guess will be the 16th. Be September 16th, right? Yep, Tuesday, September 16th. Helpless Garage, great show, Tim. Thanks to everyone. See you next week. See you guys next week. Garage is now closed.